We've heard Elon warn us about the potential dangers of artificial intelligence on several occasions, which, according to him, could potentially destroy the entire human civilization. For instance, when Elon was invited to the SXSW annual conference, Elon broke his silence on AI for the first time, stating that AI could potentially be more dangerous than nuclear weapons if its development is not regulated. Take a look.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want. That would be insane. And mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Far. So why do we have no regulatory oversight? This is insane.
Elon expressed his reservations on AI development when he appeared at the Recode conference.
I am concerned about certain directions that AI could take that would be not good for the future. I think it'd be fair to say that not all AI futures are benign, not all.
Okay.
And so I think it's important, if we have this incredible power of AI, that it not be concentrated in the hands of a few and potentially lead to a world that we don't want.
He stated that artificial intelligence might exceed us in every way, therefore we should make sure that it is benign. Take a look.
If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. And so then we could be in benign, but even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet, basically.
Pet, that's what I was
like
thinking.
A pet.
Like
a cat.
Elon
like
the
a house cat. Yeah,
right.
it would be like the house cat.
Right.
And so if you have something, if we create some digital superintelligence that exceeds us in every way by a lot, it's very important that that be benign.
In another interview with CNN Business, Elon explained that AI is developing at a much faster pace than anyone realizes, and therefore we should be proactive towards it rather than being reactive. Check it out.
AI is much more advanced than people realize, and the pace of progress is much greater than people realize. It'd be fairly obvious if you saw a robot walking around talking and behaving like a person, you're like, whoa, that's like, what's that? That would be really obvious. What's not obvious is a huge server bank in a dark vault somewhere with an intelligence that's potentially vastly greater than what a human mind can do. Its eyes and ears would be everywhere. Every camera, every microphone, every device that's network accessible. That's really what AI means. It's not like a robot running around. The robots would simply be they'd be like a finger of the AI.
In conversation with HBO, Elon explained that besides the threat of AI weapons, another threat posed by AI is data manipulation. For instance, the advanced AI could manipulate the results of elections and hence start worldwide disputes.
Probably a bigger risk than being hunted down by a drone is that AI would be used to make incredibly effective propaganda. That would not seem like propaganda.
So these are deep fakes.
Yeah, influence the direction of society, influence elections. Artificial intelligence just hones the message, looks at the feedback, makes this message slightly better. Within milliseconds, it can adapt its message and shift and react to news. And there's so many social media accounts out there that are not people. Like, how do you know it's a person, not a person?
He also pointed out that the conventional approach of regulated things won't be effective for AI, and hence we need to take immediate action.
The way in which a regulation is put in place is slow and linear,
right?
And we are facing an exponential threat. And if you have a linear response to an exponential threat, it's quite likely the exponential threat will win. That, in a nutshell, is the issue.
When the interviewer asked Elon how AI could destroy humans, Elon responded by giving us a very interesting yet scary analogy. Take a look.
We have AI, which could destroy civilization.
Excuse me, how could AI destroy civilization?
It would be something the same way that humans destroyed the habitat of primates. It wouldn't necessarily be destroyed, but we might be relegated to a small corner of the world. When Homo sapiens became much smarter than other primates, it pushed all the other ones into small habitats. They're just in the way.
In another interview with Y Combinator, Elon said that even if advanced AI does not develop its own will, it could be very dangerous because it could get stolen by someone and used unethically.
It's not as though I think that the risk is that the AI would develop a will of its own right off the bat. I think it's more that's the concern is that someone may use it in a way that is bad, and even if they weren't going to use it in a way that's bad, that somebody could take it from them and use it in a way that's bad. That's very dangerous. It could also get stolen by somebody bad, like some evil dictator or country could send their intelligence agency to go steal it and gain control. It just becomes a very unstable situation, I think, if you've got any incredibly powerful AI. You just don't know who's going to control that.
Elon has suggested the machine-brain interface as a means to merge AI with humanity. He believes that this is the only solution to address this threat. Take a look.
I think it's to essentially, I think one of the solutions that seems maybe the best one is to have an AI layer. If you think of like you've got your limbic system, your cortex, and then a digital layer, sort of a third layer above the cortex that could work well and symbiotically with you.
Long-term aspiration for Neuralink would be to achieve a symbiosis with artificial intelligence, and to achieve a sort of democratization of intelligence, such that it is not monopolistically held in a purely digital form by governments and large corporations.
Basically, an effort for man to merge with machine in a healthy way.
Yes.
To beat machines, you basically have to merge with machines.
Most likely, yes. Essentially, how do we ensure that the future constitutes the sum of the will of humanity? And so if we have billions of people with the high bandwidth link to the AI extension of themselves, it would actually make everyone hyper smart.
Okay, so
This is very esoteric.
Yeah, no, but you say this is more psi than phi, so you believe we're headed this
I
way.
believe this can be done. It's really all about laying the groundwork to make sure that if humanity collectively decides that creating digital superintelligence is the right move, then we should do so very, very carefully.
AI has a goal, and humanity just happens to be in the way. It will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill. I don't think most people understand just how quickly machine intelligence is advancing. It's much faster than almost anyone realizes, even within Silicon Valley. And certainly outside Silicon Valley, people really have no idea. If there's a superintelligent, particularly if it's engaged in recursive self-improvement, if there's some digital superintelligence and its optimization or utility function is something that's detrimental to humanity, then it will have a very bad effect. It could be just something like getting rid of spam email or something, and it's like concludes, well, the best way to get rid of spam is to get rid of humans. Actually, I think the thing to do would be to plot the progress of digital intelligence versus time, and then to maybe curve fit or extrapolate that progress and see where that leads.
But you're talking about machines that are not just intelligent, but have intentionality. Is that right?
They have the intention of their utility function,
which is what we programmed in, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it can have unintended consequences.
I think that the biggest risk is not that the AI will develop a will of its own, but rather that it will follow the will of people that establish its utility function or its optimization function. And that optimization function, if it is not well thought out, I mean, even if its intent is benign, it could have quite a bad outcome. For example, if you were a hedge fund or private equity fund, he said, well, all I want my AI to do is maximize the value of my portfolio. Then the AI could decide, well, the best way to do that is to short consumer stocks, go long defense stocks, and start a war. and that would also be quite bad.
I am concerned about certain directions that AI could take that would be not good for the future. I mean, I think it'd be fair to say that like not all AI futures are benign, not all.
Okay.
And so if you have something, if we create some digital superintelligence that exceeds us in every way by a lot, it's very important that that be benign. There's a quote that I love from Lord Acton. He was the guy that came up with power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, which is that freedom consists of the distribution of power and despotism in its concentration. And so I think it's important, if we have this incredible power of AI, that it not be concentrated in the hands of a few and potentially lead to a world that we don't want.
And what world is that? What do you foresee that when you say it?
It's difficult. I mean, it's called the singularity because it's difficult to predict exactly what future that might be. Except I don't know a lot of people who love the idea of living under a despot. I don't think people generally choose to live in a democracy over a dictatorship.
And the despot would be the computer?
Or the people controlling the computer. If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. And so then we could be in benign, but even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet. Honestly, that would be the benign scenario.
So the rate of improvement is really dramatic. We have to figure out some way to ensure that the advent of digital superintelligence is one which is symbiotic with humanity. I think that's the single biggest existential crisis that we face, and the most pressing one.
I think one of the solutions, that seems maybe the best one, is to have an AI layer. If you think of like you've got your limbic system, your cortex, and then a digital layer, sort of a third layer above the cortex, that could work well and symbiotically with you.
I think it's incredibly important that AI not be other. It must be us. And
I could be wrong about what I'm saying. I'm certainly open to ideas if anybody can suggest a path that's better. But I think we're really going to have to either merge with AI or be left behind.
We're really playing a crazy game here with the atmosphere and the oceans. We're taking vast amounts of carbon from deep underground and putting this in the atmosphere. This is crazy. We should not do this. It's very dangerous. So we should accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. I mean, the bizarre thing is that obviously we're going to run out of oil in the long term. There's only so much oil we can mine and burn. It's tautological. We must have a sustainable energy transport and energy infrastructure in the long term. So we know that's the end point. We know that. So why run this crazy experiment where we take trillions of tons of carbon from underground and put it in the atmosphere and oceans? Carbon that is circulating through the environment. So it's going into the air, being absorbed by, and then getting absorbed by plants and animals, and then going back into the air. And this carbon is just circulating on the surface. And this is fine, and it's been doing that for millions, hundreds of millions of years. The thing that's changed is that we've added something to the mix. So we added all this extra carbon to the carbon cycle, and the net result is that the carbon in the ocean's atmosphere is growing over time. It's much more than can be absorbed by the ecosystem. It's really quite simple. We're taking billions of tons of carbon that's been buried for hundreds of millions of years and is not part of the carbon cycle, taking it from deep underground and adding it to the carbon cycle. The result is that a steady increase in the carbon in the atmosphere and in the oceans, which doesn't look like much if you look at it on this chart, but when looked at in the context of history, it actually looks like this. The carbon parts per million has really been bouncing around the 300 level for around 10 million years. And then in the last few hundred years, it went into a vertical climb. This is the essence of the problem. This is very unusual and a very, very extreme